Welcome to the Nonprofits. For our fourth segment this week, we are delighted to share some wondrous news, trademark. Jimmy Jr., please be delighted and share with us some wondrous news, trademark.
Yes, I am delighted. Attention, all you intelligence nerds, dorks, dweebs, and geeks out there. We have a major breakthrough concerning the declassification of highly classified documents, which leads us to arguably one of the most important findings in human history, the discovery of the Ark of the Covenant. Yes, Moses' lost tablets inscribed by Yahweh, the storm god of ancient Canaanites, the southern tribe that believed in the storm god. Anyway, these tablets, this covenant has been found by psychics several thousand miles away in a secret CIA black site all the way back in 1988. I assess, being the former military intelligence analyst that I am, but the veracity of this intelligence is highly authentic and the sources are reliable. No, I'm kidding. This is not at all realistic, but this story is from The Independent by James Liddell on March 28th, 2025.
All right, Jimmy. Thank you. This seems to be, we're tongue in cheek, of course, here, but it seems to be a very important moment in human history. We are some of the lucky ones that get to witness this most holy moment. So what's your take on this whole thing? What's your take on this story?
Oh, boy. Well, I think the best part of this, first of all, I gave my take, and I think it's complete crap. But the best part about this, and this is what makes me proud to be a veteran, but it's the article said Joe McMoneagle. That's a very patriotic last name, McMoneagle. Right. Joe McMoneagle, an army chief warrant officer and the first person to do remote viewing for the CIA. I mean, think about it. Back in the 80s, the government, you think we're wasting money now? The CIA was paying psychics to find treasure 6,000 miles away in the Middle East. But Joe McMoneagle, a chief warrant officer and the first person to do remote viewing for the CIA, told the New York Post that they allegedly do not know what was scrawled down and are guided through the process by another person. So he was describing this. So talking about the remote viewer doesn't really know like what is kind of inscribed on this thing, but he had this to say: if someone claims that remote viewing proves the existence of something, such as the Ark of the Covenant, they must produce the Ark to substantiate their claim. Boom! I think this guy might have been an intelligence analyst. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think that – I think this is a lot of fun. I think it's silly. I can't believe that our government – I guess I can believe it was employing this kind of thing. But, hey, back in the 80s, before we had some of the great stuff we have now, I guess psychics made sense.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the headline at least was misleading because they didn't find the Ark of the Covenant. Right. They found somebody who said they knew where the Ark of the Covenant was. And I also want to point out that the person that was identified as this remote viewer that found this so-called Ark of the Covenant was subject number 32. So that means they had a whole bunch of people doing this. And we haven't seen any reports about what the other people reported. And, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? I mean, if you get enough people, somebody's going to talk. I mean, the Ark of the Covenant. This was in what year was the remote viewing? It was in around the time I think when the Indiana Jones was kind of becoming a big thing, and so people knew about the Ark of the Covenant. They knew what it looked like in the movie, which was conspicuously identical to what they described in their remote viewing session. Helen, what is your take on this story? Tell us what your heathen reprobate mind tells you about this story.
I would like to share a personal experience. I used to work at a psychic university back when I was into New Age woo-woo stuff. And I can, yeah.
Was that an accredited university?
No, it was not. Shocking, I know. Guess what? You can't be accredited to become a medium or read auras. Just so you know. Shocking. And I can tell you that it's all bullshit. So... And this is the thing, there was also mentioned in the article, like he didn't know what he was looking for. Okay. Granted, he didn't. But as you pointed out, Scott, Indiana Jones was really popular in the 80s. And it's kind of become part of the zeitgeist even now, you know, like I can think sometimes a week I think of Indiana Jones. So, you know, just or it's quoted or something comes up in your life that you're like, oh, Indiana Jones. Okay. So you're back in the 80s and you're supposed to, you know, have magic powers, I guess, guys. And you're able to view thousands and thousands of miles away what is in a secure base. The CIA is hiding that, I guess. And this is another thing. Why would you? Because then if like you want to prove that, like, you know, something, you have this religious artifact, you know, wouldn't you want to show it to everybody? It doesn't prove a God, but you have a religious historical artifact that's mentioned in the Bible.
Right.
I don't think I made that up, the CIA black site. So I think when the psychic was in the black site. But
that's right. That's what it was. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know why I'm getting lost in the
but you're
details.
Right.
I don't know. I'm confused.
Hey, this is important shit, I said. Remember? But you're right, though. She did say that it's being guarded by people, right? And it's being guarded by like dark forces, but that there are people that know about it. So I'm kind of just like, I see where you're coming from. Like, hey, this is like powerful stuff. Why wouldn't these people show it? Why is this being kept secret so long? I don't know. Right. But yeah, this is what was going on in our black sites.
So this was information that was recently declassified. And Jimmy, I know you mentioned that you had experience in military intelligence. Just out of curiosity, why would something like this ever become classified?
Well, you know, first of all, it's the Central Intelligence Agency. So
is it just default? They just knee jerk everything's classified, or?
I would say that probably somebody, you know why this was classified? Because somebody actually believed that this could work. That's why.
Oh, okay.
That's why. So somebody actually believed that this could work, and tax dollars went into it. And there was maybe a likelihood that if this did work, now the United States had a new weapons system, right? A new advantage over our adversaries or over any other country's military or government trying to contest us. If this happened to work, then maybe it would work later and we could use this again. We could use this to find other things. So anyway, I think that is probably why these tests were classified. I also had an uncle. I still have an uncle, but my uncle was in intelligence when he was in the military in the 70s. And his whole thing is sometimes things are classified because they really need to be, and other times things are classified because of how much they can embarrass the United States. Now, I never came across anything like that, but this could very well be proof of that. So, you know, that might explain the high classification. I almost wish they just kept it classified, because this is a little depressing that this is what our premier intelligence agency was doing.
Did you read the comment section?
Supposed to be world class.
I did not read the comment section.
You should read the comment section of this article, people. Holy moly.
You won't need to go back, because I wrote down some comments and we're going to be talking about them before we're done here. But before we do that, I got one last thing. So if the Raiders of the Lost Ark was true, then maybe the third Indiana Jones movie was also true. That's the one where they found the Holy Grail. And so I looked that up. I wanted to see, have we found the Holy Grail? And so as reported on allthat'sinteresting.com, quote, theories about where the Holy Grail can be found very widely. Some believe it's lost in the sewers of Jerusalem, while others believe it's hidden in the Americas. The Holy Grail has also been found in the ancient city of Antioch, in Toledo, Ohio, of all places, and in 200 other places across Europe. So what do we think is going to be the next big foolproof evidence of the truth of the Bible? Helen, what do you think? What's the next thing we're going to find? So if we got is Noah's Ark? I mean, we found Noah's Ark like
we found and the Shroud of Turin. We have
Shroud
that.
of Turin.
So,
okay, so let's see. Let's apply give us some of your remote viewing from your history there, and see if you can divine the next wondrous artifact that we're going to be finding.
We're going to find the cross that Jesus was crucified on.
The cross, because I know that like Peter Popoff and people like that sell parts of the cross. So we're going to find like the whole big thing, right?
We're going to find the whole, or we're going to put together like a puzzle. We're going to get all the pieces together. So that, you can take that to the bank, everybody. You can bet money on that. That's the next thing they're going to find, because I thought of it.
Okay.
So obviously it's true.
All right. Definitely true. Take your money to the bank, right? And this information is for entertainment purposes only, and we are not financial experts, blah, 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 legalese and so on. Okay, so you wanted reader comments, and I wrote down some of my favorite ones here. We'll talk about these. So this, I'll get Jimmy's comment first on this one. This one was by a reader by the name of Elizabeth Hazard. Elizabeth said, "It's interesting that our oligarchs dismiss psychics as hooey, but then enlist their services in top secret intelligence operations. Very hypocritical and suspicious. It's either hooey or it's not. We're just told great powers don't exist, so we don't rise up to them. That's what the crickets did when the ants in Bug's Life. They made the ants feel weak, even though the ants are incredibly strong and outnumber the crickets 100 to 1. And so +1 for Elizabeth Hazard for mentioning the Bug's Life. But Jimmy, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think this is just like a some kind of manipulation tactic? They're trying to keep the uninformed and chasing ghosts and stuff?
I think Elizabeth Hazard was an intelligence officer as well, and probably the original classification authority for this whole thing, and classified it herself, because she knows that these psychics might actually be onto something, that the remote viewing might actually work. No, I don't think I don't know where this person's coming from. I don't think that this means that there's any credibility for it. I think that somebody said, you know what? All right, these people say that they can do this thing. We need to test it out. Okay, we need to test it out, and we need to see if they can really do it. That way we know for sure they either can or cannot. And I think that that's what really happened, and why this test was done in the first place. I would be surprised if we found any more tests, like 2, 3, 5, 10 years later, they were still doing this stuff. Right. I just think that, a claim was made, they examined it, and that was it. And Elizabeth, no, I'm sorry. I don't think that this is a cover-up. My conspiracy theory tendencies can't go that deep.
All right, that sounds good. That's fair assessment there. Helen, this one's for you. This one's from a reader by the name of Todd Turtle. Todd says, my best advice and I want you to seriously consider this advice here. My best advice to anyone trying to prove the ark exists, to not go messing around with things they are not authorized by God to do so. In the Bible, when King David and his army were moving the ark to Jerusalem, when they retrieved it from the Philistines, who wanted rid of it, a person during celebration, walking up the street, barely touched it by accident, and they died instantly. I think we saw some of that in that Indiana Jones movie. That's that famous scene at the end there with the Nazis. They sure learned their lesson. It's best to not mess with the ark until the appointed time to do so, and only by those God has authorized, which are certain proest from the Levite tribe.
That's supposed to be
priests. You're right. Which are certain priests. Yep. Thank you for that. Which are certain priests from the Levite tribe that are of Jewish descent. So what do you think? Do you think we're messing with powers we can't possibly comprehend, and that we need to be careful with this, or what's going on there?
I just love the reply to that by Syrian Castellana, who said, basically only the worthy can live minor. Got it. So basically that you have to be the right person at the right time and appointed by a God to, like, you know, touch the covenant. Listen, I don't know my Bible. I don't know if your face is supposed to melt when you touch the Ark of the Covenant. I don't know. I don't know. If it does melt the face of Nazis, then I'm all for it. But other than that, this is just apologetics again. And also to the conspiracy theory that you pointed out, Scott. Again, either the government is efficient and wonderful masterminds and are playing like 10D chess and we're just setting up the board, or they're bumbling idiots. It's one or the other. So
I think we know which one that is.
Yeah. I just find it very funny that people, like, they just read the story and it's said, like, you know, this is not true. This is like remote viewing is not a thing. And then they do apologetics in a comment session to try to explain that maybe they really did find the Ark of the Covenant. And, you know, they just can't touch it because you have to be super, super special. Maybe there's that.
So I wanted to say, you know, the thing that stands out to me with that quote is that you should not go messing around with things they are not authorized to do. So it sounds like God is handing out top secret security clearances. And if you don't have one and you touch this thing, you'll die. Right. Yep. So maybe this is really classified. And, you know, I loved in the article, anybody that's made it this far in this segment,
if you're still with us,
if you're still watching, please go back and find this article, because there's a drawing of what the psychics were seeing. And it's a picture of like this bird, which is a seraphim, which they said was on each corner of the Ark of the Covenant, which actually is not accurate. If you check with the Torah, there's actually two angels or cherubim on the covenant, and their wings are touching or whatever. I got that from Torah.com. And that was an article written by Dr. Rabbi Zeb Farber. But in any case, there was a sketch of this bird person, and it says around it, but how does it open? So the CIA analyst was really into this, sketching down the thoughts and trying to figure out a way in. I loved it. And it reminded me of the times that I was deployed, where we would just do stupid shit because we were bored, right? And literally had nothing to do. I feel like there were some intelligence analysts like, hey, let's mock up this story about fake CIA psychics, and in 40 years, people will find it and actually take it seriously.
Have you guys seen the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is all I'm thinking of. Like when I read this article,
Yeah,
it's just that movie, like ridiculous remote viewing is, and you know, your tax dollars being spent on trying to see if you could see across large distances and maybe find the Ark of the Covenant. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah. Well, like Jimmy was saying, if you look at the drawings, they got it wrong. So this is not even the real Ark of the Covenant. It kind of reminds me of that scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, when Sir Galahad fights his way to the Castle Anthrax, and he's like, I've seen the Grail here. I've seen it. Then they're like, oops, we just lit our beacon, which I just now remember is grail shaped. And so they had a grail shaped beacon. And so he made a mistake. And so naughty Zoot, you deserve your spanking. But I want to read one more comment. And this is from a reader by the name of Gonorrhea, which is a very unfortunate name there, but it's spelled differently than the STD, which happens to be my initials. So I got screwed on the last name and on the initials there. But so this last comment is, and this goes directly to Helen, what you were saying. You said remote viewing is not a real thing. And how does this comment start out? Remote viewing and astral projection is a very real thing. So there, Helen, You can accomplish it through the use of you can accomplish it through the use of hallucinogenic drugs or lucid dreaming. Not that those would cause anything else that might be different than actual remote viewing. I'm not recommending anyone to seek this out, as I believe it is forbidden. There's that thing again, that gatekeeping. It's forbidden by God. But when I was younger, I did both by accident, by smoking salvia, which I actually looked up. Salvia is apparently a variation of sage or something like that. And I think that allowed me to remote view later in life while I was dreaming. No sense of self-awareness on that comment there. Helen, what do you think about that?
Well, checkmate, gonorrhea.
That was written, Helen, that was written directly for you. That was
just for me.
She knew.
She's psychic.
They knew that what you were going to say. I don't know.
Future.
I don't know.
5 days ago.
That's some pretty solid evidence there. That's pretty solid evidence. I don't know.
Yeah, color me impressed. Oh,
Right.
Okay, girl.
Jimmy, let's give you the. Sorry, what's that? Yeah, you do drugs. She did drugs and was dreaming.
Yeah,
and
imagine that it happened when that happened. Jimmy, let's give you the last word on the story here.
Oh,
yeah, could you imagine giving testimony and being taken seriously? Like, Your Honor, I know this is true. I was on drugs and I was dreaming. Oh, case closed. Yeah.
God told me I couldn't do it.
she did drugs, and then she had a dream, and then she caught gonorrhea, and who knows what she was doing while she was in that state of mind. But in any case, this has just been a lot of fun. I appreciate the comments, and I appreciate the banter. And while I used to be a military intelligence analyst, I just want to say that my thoughts or opinions are my own. And I don't represent any agency in the United States government or Department of Defense. And I also don't think that any of this is credible. So that's just my opinion.
You're just hiding the secret from us, Jimmy.
Yeah, right. You guys are on to me.
You really do know.
You're just trying to bum our high, man. You're trying to bum our high.
Maybe you should go take some hallucinogenics after this.
Maybe, and then go take a nap.
And then try to remote view. Maybe you'll find the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, maybe you could. All right. Well, I just want to tell both of you that I had a really great time this week talking to the two of you. I think we had some really interesting conversations, and I look forward to the next time we have an opportunity to do that. And if those of you watching out there are looking forward to that as well, you can follow us by clicking on the links that are appearing right now.